In the 1950s and 60s, mass production came of age. Highly automated processes took over. Increasingly, human beings just had to fit in to the great manufacturing machine. And the idea behind it all was time and motion. Invented by American industrialist Frederick Taylor in his book The Principles of Scientific Management, it aimed for cheaper, better, and more efficient ways of working. For many workers, a new hate figure arrived. He was the time and motion man. How could you tell who he was? Well, he had a stopwatch and he was nosy. He wanted to know how every job was carried out and how long it took. Timing tasks to the minimum had been one of the ways Henry Ford churned out millions of Model T Fords.
Cars used to be made by skilled craftsmen, perhaps several around one particular car, and they saw the production all the way through from the start to finish. With mass production, your line moves, the worker stays where they are, and they bolt on the various components. It's got to run as quick as possible. Ideally, you would have it running as quick as you possibly could in order to maximise the investment you've made in that plant.
To keep workers up to the mark, a new and unpopular figure appeared in factories. It's not difficult to see why the time and motion man should be disliked, and people reacted in the way they often do with someone they mistrust. They turned him into a figure of fun. The 1959 film I'm All Right, Jack starred Peter Sellers as a shop steward at war with the management of a munitions factory, which was trying to impose time and motion techniques.
But my instructions, Major Hitchcock, are to carry out a time and motion study in every department.
Whose bright idea was that? The last time a motion fellow we had tried to pass himself off as one of the workers. They rabbled him right away. Poor chap's still in hospital.
Workers wanted as much money as possible for as little labour as possible, and management wanted to do the exact opposite. The real problem is, how do you say to someone that you're not working hard enough? How do you actually specify how hard someone should work?
But I wasn't working particularly hard, and I got the job done in half the time.
Well, at that rate, he'd only need half the drivers. Oh, you want your head seen too?
We brought together the shop floor and the management here at the Vauxhall plant in Ellesmere Port to remember the bad old days. Kenneth Spain was a shop steward here for 30 years, while Phil Millward is now a manager after joining in 1969.
Time and motion was the thing of the day, and it served as maybe a means to exploit workers, or that's what the workers in the trade union thought. And it generated a lot of resentment. On certain days, it was like working in a war zone. When you saw the time and motion men appear, what were you trying to do?
When they came down there, we had to be on our guard, because they were trying to make us work harder for the same amount of pay.
So how did you counter that?
We'd slow down the action of an arm or the action of a leg.
Anything to slow it down?
Anything to slow it down, yeah, to gain more time.
While the management saw time and motion as essential, the unions felt it demeaned the workers.
We felt we were being treated like robots. We felt we weren't being listened to sometimes. No. Taking strike action made them take notice.
In a modern factory, time and motion is simply no longer controversial. There's no debate about it and no stopwatches to be seen. It all means that this factory can produce 45 cars per hour every hour that the line's running.
I have to make sure that the jobs are done intact, and where possible, the line stays run. They don't need to like the line stop because time costs money.
If you look around a modern factory, you won't see a time and motion man, but the idea, 100 years on, is still very relevant. Time and motion is what mass production is about, and it keeps cars like this rolling off the production line.